This North Carolina Education Lottery 200 Betting Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 100 times your entry with the Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. We're also brought to you by the Mega Memorial Merch Sale. 15% off of everything in the SGPN merch store with promo code SGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 420 of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and it is, of course, the Trucks episode. We have reached almost the end of the week, Cody. I'm telling you, I don't know if we've ever produced this much content in a week, but it's been crazy. It's been fun, but I'm ready to curl up and watch some races now for the rest of the weekend.
Truck night in America to kick it off too. Let's go. Yes, it has been a very busy week. Lots of content, Rod. A lot of fucking podcast episodes. So go back and get caught up before the weekend. A lot of articles over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Got a couple more coming out soon. So those will be out in the near future. But it's been a fun week, Rod. I've been really, really excited. This Memorial Day weekend is always just the best. I mean, really, it's the best weekend in racing, right? We got all three series. They've all got crown jewel events going on. And the whole thing is fun. Plus, we get Xfinity and trucks leading up to it. Makes for a fun weekend. 5 races to bet on. You can't ask for much more than that.
Now, we told you at the beginning of the week, temper it all. Like, don't blow everything all at once because you've got a lot of racing to get through over the course of the next few days. And, of course, it all starts, like we said, Friday night with the trucks taking on this Charlotte Motor Speedway. And, you know, unlike the Xfinity Series, this Cup Series has no actual full-time Cup guys in this race. So these guys get to play by themselves for the first time in a very long time. And Cody, this makes for a couple of different things. Like we talk about too, when the Cup guys are in the series, it always makes the odds inflated for some of these favorite guys. But it also makes it, a little more difficult for them to perform well. However, this time around, the odds reflect that there are no Cup drivers, and it makes it difficult for us to pick some. And also, the selection is horrendous this week.
We've complained about this before, Rod. This might be the worst week we've had truck odds. Like, again, don't hit that off button. Don't turn the dial, Rod. We still found some good stuff, and there's some stuff I really like. But the selection out there, I mean, I get it. There's a lot of other racing going on. You got the NBA playoffs and stuff like that as well. But it's a little thin out there, Rod. Especially with and I think that to the point of where having the Cup guys helps push down the normal guys' odds and stuff, and really saw that in Xfinity. Like, there's a lot of different ways to go. When we talk about DFS tomorrow, like, there's a billion ways to go in the Xfinity Series, but in the Truck Series, with there not being any Cup guys, really, it's going to make it a little bit harder.
Yeah, it is. But we did find the stuff that we like. I mean, again, it doesn't matter what happens. We always find stuff that we like. It's just we wish we had more because we're greedy like that. DM Punk checking in saying, "Sup, Content Kings." Kind of feels that way this weekend for sure. So, or this week for sure. Definitely cranking it out. And we're glad that you're sticking with us through all of it because, again, it's because of you that we're able to do this 5, 6, 7 times a week. So gotta love
we
it.
really appreciate it.
We do, because it is, of course, the biggest week in racing. We've already talked Indy 500. We've already talked Monaco Grand Prix. Go check that out in the F1 Gambling Podcast. And tonight, it'll be in the feed tonight. I got to get that out on the NASCAR Gambling Podcast feed for those of you. But this is a good way for you to go and subscribe to the F1 Gambling feed as well. Plus the Coke 600. We got you covered from all different angles, from all of the different races, all over the racing spectrum. And of course, take the time now to join our free Kyle Larson diecast giveaway. It's free. I mean, that's the best price that you could possibly ask for. It's absolutely free. You want to get in on it, go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/race. You could win one of those amazing diecast cars. It is the Indy 500 car. It is the Coke 600 car right there that you see on the screen. And if you're not watching on YouTube, this is your plea to go do that. However, I will say that it is a signed diecast of both of the cars. That is a beautiful, beautiful sight. His Arrow McLaren and, of course, his Hendrick Chevy over there. Make sure you get in there. Subscribe to both the F1 Gambling Podcast and the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, and they'll go enter. You got to pick the winner of the Indy 500, the Coke 600, the Monaco GP without Max Verstappen, and get in there. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/race. Plus, we are running a mega Memorial Day merch sale, 15% off everything in the merch store. Promo code SGP and May. Grab yourself one of those sexy little hats. Grab yourself one of those hoodies, a coffee mug, whatever it is you want from Racing Gambling Podcast brand. It's all there for you. 15% off with the promo code SGPN May. All right, Cody. It is, of course, the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The trucks are set for 134 laps around this 1.5 mile paved track for 201 miles. Just as much as we said that it was a crazy way to handicap because there's not that many odds to choose from in this race, I got to tell you, when you look through the history of this, the drivers themselves don't have a whole lot of track history on this. There's a couple of them that obviously do, and that's all. Looking at you, Matt Crafton, looking at you, Ben Rhodes. But at the same time, most of these other guys, not a lot of track history on here because of the turnaround. And yeah, I mean, God, it just makes it a little difficult in some places.
Yeah, absolutely. It is difficult in some ways and easy in other ways, I guess, maybe, Rob.
Yeah, and I looked a lot at just what have you done lately, right? That a lot of my handicapping was like, what have you done this season or last season?
For the most part in the trucks, like that's the way to go. There's, a few guys here and there, and even in Xfinity to a lot of degree. Now there's more people who kind of seem to hang around in that series year to year, but a lot of times in the trucks, because it is such fresh people or fresh names and fresh places, and there's a lot of guys that you can't even look at what they did last year because, yeah, if you look at what Stuart Friesen did at the beginning of last year, it was great, but it's not so much anymore. If you look at what Taylor Gray did at the beginning of last year, it wasn't great, and it is good now. So it kind of, a lot more variables, not as much the same here, which is good because it keeps us on our toes and keeps things different.
Yeah, it keeps us digging through the stats and the books to try to find the great value for you, which we're going to do. So, Cody, I don't have any other news on the plate. I feel like it's just a good time to start into the bets.
So I do have a couple of quick things here, Rod. First of all, it was announced, not really announced, but the reports came out today. Tony Kanaan in the IndyCar did not take the veteran refresher course, so he's not eligible to replace Kyle Larson, which leaves only one person eligible to replace Larson in the Indy 500, which is Nolan Siegel, one guy who did not make the race. And the reason this is important is rain's in the forecast for Indy now. The more you look at it, the closer we get, it's getting better. So it's trending in the right direction, but we'll see. I know there's been a couple of seasons lately where it was like, oh, it's going to be rain, and then nothing happens, and it was fine. But if it's delayed, who knows what the deal is. Couple of things to note. There's no relief drivers allowed. So whoever starts the race has to finish the race or the car's done. You can't switch drivers like you can in NASCAR, which is a dumb rule. They just changed it a few years ago. I don't really understand why, because it's not like it's either for like a physical reason or an extenuating circumstance. Like there's no strategy in changing drivers like halfway through the race. I don't understand that, but not the point. And it sounds like if Nolan Siegel starts the race and Larson, if it gets pushed back and they're running into Coke 600 time and Larson needs to go to the Coke 600, it sounds like Siegel will just run a lap and park the car. So I don't know. It'll be something to keep an eye on, but just to kind of keep everybody in the loop of what's going on. I have a feeling, Rod, that Rick Hendrick has already spoken with NASCAR and made sure that they can get a waiver if Larson misses it. I think, even though they've publicly said differently, to save face, right? I think Larson running the 500 is actually the priority this weekend. So it'll be interesting to kind of see where the saga goes. It's a fun little story to follow. Of course, stay in the Discord. We'll keep you updated as well. But just wanted to kind of touch base on where we're at least on Thursday afternoon with all of that.
Oh God, I hate weather. I wish that every race day. I think you said that too in the Discord.
Yeah.
Why is
it ruins so much in racing. It sucks. It's like we have this perfect weekend set up, and like last year it got ruined because the Coke 600 was on Monday. Because when it's a holiday weekend, a lot of people have Monday off. I don't. A lot of people do, and so it's not a huge deal. But like the point is, sit down on Sunday and have your full day of racing. So, oh well, that's how it goes. The one other piece of news, Rod, Gibbs did comment today that the original plan was Eric Almirola, but it was a team decision to put Ty in the car. I don't know if that goes back to Almirola's comments about what happens in intermediate tracks or what the deal is there, but it'll be interesting to see if we it didn't go well for Almirola the first time around at JGR. If you've heard those stories, hopefully they're not headed back in the same direction over there. But entry list, Rod, there is 38 trucks for 36 spots. The 2 drivers will go home. Connor Moylesack, throwback to last year, he is back in the 7 truck for Spire. Jen Jo Cobb is in the 10 car. She'll likely be one of the DNQs. Connor Jones, is back in the 66 car. Jeffrey Earnhardt making an appearance in the 67. This is an MBM truck, so same as like Timmy Hill's truck, that Carl Long team there. And everyone's favorite, Jack Wood, back in the 91 truck as well. Notable, no Cup Series drivers at all in this race. Not even any Xfinity regulars coming down.
I know, and that's the crazy thing about it. Very few times nowadays do the truck drivers get left alone, but this is all theirs now, so they get to showcase themselves on a pretty expansive 1.5 mile track for them. So very much looking forward to all of that. Definitely have some thoughts on a couple of those drivers that you mentioned too. So definitely having an opinion on a couple of them. So we'll definitely go from there. And I'll say definitely about 6 more times until I find the right button to push, because we'll get to the bets, but we'll also first get to telling you about Underdog Fantasy. NBA playoffs are here. Our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy, let's face it, it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports, right? Playing their pick'em is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, so much more. Plus, as we know in the world of racing, it's better than or worse than the projected finishing position of the driver. Very simple stuff. Even I can do it. Playing their pick'em is as simple as, like I said, selecting higher or lower. You can make your entries in all of basketball. You can mix and match across your favorite sports, including racing, including football when that comes around, including golf, including whatever, esports, whatever your fancy is. Underdog probably has it for you. Plus, you can win up to 100 times your money. It's a ton of fun. New customers, you're going to get a pick'em special in the lobby when you sign up, so make sure you go and do that. Underdog's also going to be running a ton of different promos like bonus air cash, or cash airdrops rather, specials, giveaways, and more throughout the NBA playoffs. Make sure to follow at Underdog Picks on Twitter to keep an eye out. Underdog is available in 30 states, including California, Texas, and Canada. They also just launched Champions, their player versus player format in Florida. Sign up today with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN.
Speaking of Underdog, Rod, spoiler alert, tomorrow's DFS episode's already been recorded. And when it came out, no trucks or Xfinity Underdog was out, so we left those out. Just gave you cup plays, but on the website, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, we are going to have an article that'll have both truck and Xfinity plays. It'll either be out this evening or tomorrow morning at the latest. So, again, I'll share that on the socials, share it over on the Discord as well. So make sure you check that out to get your plays there. And an F1 article will also be out at some point this weekend whenever Underdog gets around to putting up stuff for Monaco. So I'd imagine it'll probably be post-qualifying and have some stuff for the race there.
Yes, indeed. And of course, as you heard me say, if I want to put a video up for you guys for all these truck and Xfinity Underdog picks. So if you're in the Discord, please kind of give me a shove when they come out and say, Rod, where are your underdog videos? I need to be held accountable. So make that happen, and I'll make it happen for you. I'll give you some fun shorts on the YouTube channel. But things we can give you right now are Truck Series picks, Cody. So I think it's time, now that we've got all of the news and notes out of the way, to start loading up our betting cards. What say you?
I think it is, Rod. I'm going to start with Corey Heim. It's Heim time plus 125 for a top 3 finish. Love this for Corey Heim. Look, we all kind of know it's Heim time, right? It's his Truck Series. No Cup guys in this one. Nobody to really take the heat off of him. Top 3, it's going to be him and Eckes. 1-2. That even leaves room for somebody else to sneak in there. Love this for Corey Heim. He won at North Wilkesboro last week. He was fast at Darlington, led 77 laps. Ended up getting wrecked, so rough there, but won at Kansas, second at Texas to Kyle Busch, won at COTA earlier this year, third at Vegas as well. So all your intermediates other than Darlington, he's been inside the top 3. Darlington was fast, was running top 3, led a ton of laps, just got wrecked, and that's going to happen sometimes. But plus 125 for Corey Heim is a steal for a top 3 number, especially when he's only plus 250 to win the race, Rod. At half the price, at that low of a price, you're getting him just to finish in the top 3. Gives you that coverage if Eckes pulls it off, or if a Raja Caruth or one of these other guys we talk about ends up getting it.
I wonder sometimes by myself, if somebody uses and employs the strategy, maybe I should, of just betting that bet every single week. Like, you'd be profitable all season long for the most part, right? And
unless eventually it gets to minus 200, which I guess if you do it correctly, you probably still would be profitable. But yeah, agreed.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where if you keep doing it, it's probably going to, and if it doesn't hit, you still are up from the 4 weeks that it happened before that, and then you just keep going from there. Robert Williams saying, what's up, guys? You think Tanner Gray is getting close to winning? He looks faster. I don't know if Tanner's close to winning, but
yeah,
I agree with you. He looks faster.
He does. He's definitely looked improved, and he's looked good. I think Taylor wins before Tanner does. I think unless it's like a super speedway, obviously that would be a little different. But yeah, I don't think Tanner is quite there yet. I think Taylor's getting close. He's definitely in the ballpark now, but a little more work, I think, for Tanner still.
I concur, Boji Joe. I think meant to say Enfinger lift, but he said lift Enfinger. That's fine. We'll talk about Enfinger in a second. And then Robert saying it's always Heim time. Indeed, and the piano may not fall on Ty Majeski this weekend. You keep the faith there, Boji Joe. I don't know that either one of us are all that faithful in it, but one guy I am having a little bit of faith in, Connor Mozak, right? He's not Moylesack this season yet. We're getting there, but Connor Mozak, right? He is driving that number 7 Spire truck, and he's pitted against Jake Garcia on Bet365. This is the only matchup in which I feel comfortable taking anything like this.
This matchup is so disgusting, Rob.
It is disgusting, but it's going to have you watching the 20th place ticker down, right?
If you're lucky, it'll be that high.
We tell you every week that we want you watching the entire scoreboard. Well, this is your chance to watch the entire scoreboard as Connor Mozak taking on Jake Garcia. Honestly, guys, my only real reason for taking this match, I don't want to put Mozak in any sort of finishing positions because I don't trust him to finish in the top 10, but that 7 truck, right? That 7 truck that has been driven by Kyle Busch this year, that by Corey LaJoie, by Connor Zilic, by Sammy Smith, like the only driver that really hasn't done well other than Kyle Busch when he finished 32nd in Darlington is Connor Mozak in his one stint in Kansas where he finished 30th. But he did start 5th in that 7 truck. Now, again, that Kansas race was pretty crazy anyways, and it was all over the place. And I don't know that a really good finish in that would have been in the cards anyways. However, this season, right, that 7 truck has been in 20th, 1st, 15th, 2nd, 4th, 8th, 1st, and 5th just recently in North Wilkesboro. The truck itself is good. We just have to see Connor Mozak not get in his own way to make that car finish exactly where it's supposed to be. So, for me, I'm hoping that he does it. I mean, he's only got 4 Truck Series starts, does Connor Mozak, in his career, and they have not been anything worth anything, right? In the 32 truck in 2022, 34th and 11th. And then in 2024, he's made 2 starts, 19th and 30th. 19th in Las Vegas, by the way, was their And that was actually, it wasn't better than Jake Garcia. And that one, Jake Garcia did finish 11th. But Jake Garcia this season, his average finish 18.7, 21st in North Wilkesboro last week, 20th at Darlington, 17th at Kansas, 19th at Fort Worth, 21st at Martinsville. All I'm hoping for in this instance is that 7 truck is a better truck than Jake Garcia's truck is going to be this year, or at least at this race in particular. So that's really all I'm hoping for. I know he finished 11th in Las Vegas, which is a really good finish for a guy driving the 13 truck. But yeah, I mean, I'm really hoping that Connor Mosack finishes better than Jake Garcia. I'm not going to even hope that it's in 21st place versus 23rd. It could be 31st versus 32nd at this point, and I'd still be happy if Connor Mosack comes out on top in that 7 truck.
Yeah, his finishes this season in that truck have not been great, but you have to believe the truck is well. I don't know. Jake is in a. I'm so disappointed in Jake Garcia, Rod. I don't even want to say it. I have a championship ticket on him that I've already shredded and burned and buried in the backyard because I don't even want it to be anywhere close. So, oh well. But yeah, I'll go with you on this. I looked at this. I probably spent like 20 minutes just like going back and forth on this and trying to find an angle, and I was like, it's disgusting, and I just couldn't find a way to do it. So, Boji Joe wants to know if Chris Wright is racing. Says Jessica wants to know Chris Wright is not racing in this one. So, also wants to know why Caden Honeycutt's matched up against Grant Enfinger. This is one. Let's see. You don't have this one, do you?
No, I don't have that.
No, I strongly considered this one, and if I would have taken it, it would actually be the Honeycutt side, because Honeycutt has had some really good races this season. Is either of us going to talk about Honeycutt either? No, I don't think so. But we're going to talk about him tomorrow on the DFS show. But he's had really strong races. I mean, he was 4th place at Kansas, ran I think 12th at Bristol, and Enfinger again like can do it, but that equipment I just am not completely sold. Also, Boji Joe says whenever a show spends 3 minutes on Connor Mosack, tune in, people. You're not going to get this kind of Connor Mosack talk anywhere else.
No, and you probably won't ever again. But like I said, it's the truck. I'm just willing that truck to have a good finishing position, better than the 13 truck. So that's all it is. I mean, again, we've seen the driver screw it up, but yeah, I definitely want the truck to get in there. So, all right, we will continue our bets, but I want to tell you first about Rhythm. If you are betting on NBA player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best player props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on the fine-tuning the algorithm. Deep breath, Rod. To give you the best shot at winning, Rhythm pairs its prediction with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident in your picks, which you can make wherever you normally place your bets or DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll a sportsbook. Rhythm also allows you to create your own custom NBA models so you can get AI-backed money line, spread, and total picks for every playoff game. Starting free 7-day trial right now. Start winning with your NBA props with Rhythm. Available wherever you get your apps.
All right, Rod. Next up for me, we're going to go to Nick Sanchez, top 5. -120 for Nick Sanchez. If there's some Cup guys in this field, maybe I wouldn't be as comfortable with this, but with nobody in this field, Nick Sanchez has just really impressed me as of late, and I really like it. I think -120, especially with the options we have this week. Again, you got to get a little choosy because there's not a ton of great options. So you're kind of picking around a little bit more than you normally would, but I do like this one for Sanchez. I feel pretty confident in it. Last week in North Wilkesboro, 7th place. Again, not a comp track, but a solid run for him. I think it's notable there. 2nd place at Darlington, though, Rod. That is a very comparable track to this intermediate package. 6th place at Kansas. I think there was some Cup guys in that race, but again, right there on the borderline. 3rd place at Texas. In the last 7 races, in the last 5 races, he has 5 straight top 7 finishes in the Truck Series. That includes races with Cup guys in them, all these other things. 9th place last season, but a very much improved truck driver from last season to this season. And Nick Sanchez really saw it towards the end of I know he had Texas early last season where he led every single lap until overtime. But later on in the year, we really saw the improved Nick Sanchez. And then coming into this season, we've seen it even more so. And he's kind of consistent. Like, is he a big threat to win? He's a threat to win for sure. But hanging around in that top 5, especially, and we've talked about this early in the season. We've had a lot of Cup guys lately, but the truck field really isn't super strong after the top, Rod, right? You've got Heim and Eckes kind of in their own tier, and then it's kind of just sort of falls off a lot after that. And Sanchez is kind of establishing himself as one of those next best guys. So I think minus 120 for Nick Sanchez for a top 5 finish is a good value.
Yeah, Nick Sanchez is one of those guys where he's not afraid to mix it up with all those guys. His truck owner last year was Kyle Busch. So, I mean, he definitely learned from that. He learned how to mix it up with all of the Cup guys. So, yeah, he's definitely not scared, and I like that as well. Definitely with you on Nick Sanchez. All right, so this number right here is the main reason why I'm taking this next bet, okay? And that is Grant Enfinger as a top 3 car or truck rather. He is 7-1. My argument begins and ends with he finished second last week. He's back. All right, stop. That I understand that that's not a strong argument. However, I will say that in Las Vegas, he did finish in 9th, right? Not too far away from a 5th place finish. And that Las Vegas race actually had Christopher Bell in it, right? It had guys that he had to compete against. It had Kyle Busch in it. I know Kyle Busch didn't finish better, but he still managed to hang tight with them and get somewhere in the vicinity of a good finish, right? That 9th place finish, even with those Cup guys in the mix, is still pretty impressive. And then again, you turn around, he actually did well the last couple of times he's been on this track. I know it's a 23 truck, but 2 top 5 finishes in his last 2 races here. So he knows how to finish inside of the top 5. He just has to get his equipment to cooperate with him and to actually do what he needs to do in order to finish inside of the top 5. Cody said it already. There's no Cup guys hanging around in this time. So maybe he can find his way to be able to get into that next tier and do what he did last week and run up front when the checkered flag falls, right? I don't want him to get a top 3. I'd love for him to get a top 3. His top 3 number is like twice that. So, but I'm not confident in top 3. I am confident that he remembers how to get into the top 5, not just on this track, but in general. So at 7-1 for a guy that just finished in the top 5 last week and is capable of doing it on this track, that is a giant misprice in my opinion. So Caesars has this at 7-1. I think another book had it at plus 450, which goes to show you that you need to shop around because Caesars at 7-1 is a way better bargain than anything else that you can find out there. So yeah, give me Grant Enfinger. Yeah. Boji Joe saying, so Hayden Honeycutt comes in second. Yeah. I mean, Caden Honeycutt does come in second place while Grant Enfinger comes in 3. I'm sorry. I meant top 3, not top 5. Oh, Cody, it's been a very long week. Grant Enfinger top 3.
You did say top 3, I think, at the top, and then just toss in a top 5 at some point. But yeah, top 3 at 7-1. Like, this is the perfect Enfinger bet because in this equipment, you're either going to get the Enfinger that comes out and is challenging for the win, hence gets you to top 3 at 7-1, which is a great number, or you get the Enfinger that's struggling and is in 15th place all day and whatever, it was 7-1. I don't care. Like, this is the perfect way to get in on him, even probably more so than to win, just because, if he gets in the top 3 and then Heim wins or Eckes wins and you don't cash anything on him, that would suck. So I think that at the number that it's at is really good. So I like that. Rod, by the way, this is amazing timing on this. Phil from Full Tank with Phil just sent me a text message. He's not watching. He just left the Philadelphia Phillies game, so shout out to him. He goes, I have to ask you, are you in on Garcia over Mosak? Which is funny because you just talked about this matchup. He said, I wrote in the notes this morning, minus 115, went to the Phillies game, come back and it's minus 130. And I go, this has to be Cody all over it. Ha ha. So he thinks I would take the Garcia side of things. I said that I think it's gross and you gave out Mosak. But yeah, I don't know. My love for Garcia has dwindled a lot, unfortunately. But I thought it was pretty funny because I'm like, I go, are you watching right now? And he goes, no, I just left the game. So I was like, yeah, that's pretty funny. That's good timing by Phil there. So, all right, Rod. Next up for me, I'm going to go back to Ben Rhodes. Top 5 number is plus 450. You can also get his top 3. I was just looking that up. His top 3. Where'd it go? Wait, that's not right.
Phil is in the chat, by the way.
Oh, there he is. It's one of those things where it's like, he knew we were talking about it. So that is funny. He's in the chat now. But okay, Ben Rhodes, top 5, plus 450. This is the route that I'm going on him. I considered his top 3 number 2, but I like the top 5 number better. Feels a little bit better than the top 3. Gives you a little more space. Ben Rhodes, Rod, I don't have a lot of great things to say. He did win this race last season, though, after I completely trashed him going into this race. This preview show last year, Rod, I had an entire rant about how much Ben Rhodes sucks, disappointing he's been, and how you should stay away from him. And then he won the race. So I apologize to Ben Rhodes. I won't do that again this year. But he did win this race last year, so I think that going to that helps, right? Make the case. And he was 3rd place at Darlington just a couple of weeks ago in the first race with the new crew chief. Last week didn't go as he had hoped, right? But that's okay. Short track. I think with this new crew chief, they maybe found something at Darlington. Got a nice, strong 3rd place finish there. I think he could do it again on a track where he was good last year. It's been pretty decent at points on the 1.5 miles. I mean, you look at the other 1.5 mile races earlier this season, they have been great, but Rhodes is kind of one of those guys where it's up and down. And even in his championship seasons last couple of years, like, they haven't been that great of seasons, but he gets hot at the right time. So I like it. He did have 3 crew chiefs last year, as Boji Joe's pointing out. So I think this is a different one than one of the 3 from last year. They'll give him Rich Luscious back at the end of the season, and they'll win another championship. But I like Ben Rhodes' top 5 at plus 450. Again, I think the number's correct on this. A weak field. Again, Heim and Eckes, and then it's pretty open behind that. I think Sanchez is going to be in there, and I think that Rhodes can get in there as well. So Ben Rhodes, top 5, plus 450.
I don't know. I'm still not sold on Ben Rhodes. He'll beat me this week, and that's fine. But at the same time, I can't do it. But somebody I can do is Brett Moffitt at a top 5. Brett Moffitt already has one top 5 finish on the season in this number 1 truck. He did it in Kansas. He started 19th in that race, ended up finishing in 5th. Again, this one truck, man, this one truck, I'll tell you right now, has been one of those surprises, a lot like the 88 car, right? When we're talking about Xfinity, where the 88 car, no matter who's been driving it, has actually been getting good finishes, which is what I'm hoping for Mosak, right? I want Mosak to drive that 7 truck a lot better than it's supposed to be finishing. But the last 3 starts for this one truck, Moffitt, 5th place, Colby Howard, 7th place after an 18th place start. And then North Wilkesboro, Brendan Queen got it in 4th place. So the truck knows how to get into the top 5. Brett Moffitt knows how to pilot this truck into the top 5. Brett Moffitt knows how to get into the top 5 on the Charlotte Motor Speedway. He's done it twice in 4 races as a truck driver, the last of which was in the 2020 season where he was driving the 23 truck, that Gallagher truck. But again, he was driving the 16, the Hattori truck too in 2018 when he got a 4th place finish. He led 28 laps in that race too, by the way. So in good equipment, right? We know the 23 truck was good and when Enfinger ran it. We know the 16 truck was good, even when Moffitt was running it for part of the time. So again, he's a good enough driver and a good enough ride, and that one truck is most certainly capable of finding itself inside of the top 5. 2-1 for this. I wish it'd be better. I really do. I wish the number would be closer to maybe 3-1. But I think the books know. I think the books realize that Brett Moffitt is obviously the veteran driver that he is and can get into the top 5 and has the ability to do it and has done it already this season. So like I said, it's not necessarily that big of a stretch to envision him back inside of the top 5 on another 1.5 miles. And he's probably going to qualify pretty well too, and keep his car or truck rather clean and somewhere in the vicinity of the top 5. And then at the end of the day, you'll be cashing this 2-1. Like I said, this is just truck, opportunity, and driver all put together in the right place. And that one truck will finish inside of the top 5 at plus 200 over there on Bet365. He is actually lower than this in some instances. I think on Caesars, he's like plus 170 or something. So maybe 165 at this point, but yeah, 365 better number on him, 2-1 for a top 5 finish.
Yeah, no arguments for me here. I love Brett Moffitt. Just announced this week, Rod, he's getting an Iowa race in the JGR car. Excited for that. He's an Iowa kid, so racing kind of at his home track there. That's going to be really exciting to watch. But Moffitt, guy that I love, so not ever going to argue with you on that. Boji Joe says he smells a cut bet. Rod Mosak, Cody Rhodes. Hey, Cody Rhodes. Look at that. There's your WWE reference, Rod.
I'm not doing it because I got called out. So
I brought the reference up, right? We made 36 minutes in for the first WWE reference, and it was Cody. I bet you didn't have that on your bingo card. See, that's the thing is I don't trust Rhodes that much. Like, I think he has the capability of a top 5 at the number, but he could also be racing for 20th throughout the day. So
and vice versa. I don't trust Mosak that much. He could be racing for a 20th and then turn around 32nd. So like I'm not.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's why like sometimes, the bigger numbers are good because it's like, well, if they suck, oh, well, you took a shot. Michael Waltrip also wondering when we're going to talk about Daniel Dye. And then Boji Joe wants to know who's winning between us and the full tank guys. We're going to get to the fantasy picks at the end of the show. We've moved things around. I did it in the doc right this time, Rod. I put the little note on the fantasy picks at the end this time instead of the beginning. So we would get to it there at the end. So next up for me, we talked about Taylor Gray a little bit ago. I'm going to go back to him, Rod. Top 3 finish, plus 350. Again, Heim and Eckes, I kind of have penciled in there. So you only got one other spot opened up. I think that's why it's good to take shots on guys like Enfinger, a little bit of a bigger number, and Taylor Gray as well, because I think Taylor Gray should be hanging around with those guys. We've seen really good flashes from Taylor Gray this season. Disappointing last week in North Wilkesboro, but short track, I'm not super worried about it. 8th place at Darlington, so not top 3, but he's hanging around, right? Some Cup guys in that field. 7th place at Texas, 7th place at Bristol. But, Rod, 4th place at Las Vegas. Of the tracks we've been to this season, Vegas is probably the most comparable to Charlotte. I like a 4th place finish there. That's only one spot out of the top 3, actually. If you didn't know, the 4th is one spot out of top 3. Now you know. The more you know, the better, right? He's been top 8 in 7 of the 10 races this season. Again, to speak to his consistency, how well he's been doing. 10th place last season in this race. But, Rod, like I've been talking about all week, right, with certain drivers, that's the old Taylor Gray. This is the new Taylor Gray, the Tay Gray that we love with all the shifties. And I think that you're getting a good number, plus 350 for a top 3. Again, it's not a guarantee, even that Heim and Eckes end up in the top 3 here. And I like the number for it. So give me Taylor Gray, top 3 at plus 350.
I mean, again, Taylor Gray is somebody that's our favorite. We've talked about him week in and week out. So anything we have to say about him, we have nice to say. Plus 352. This is because we've started to watch Taylor Gray sort of slump into what he's been over the past couple of seasons rather than what he's matured to at the beginning of this season. So when the number starts to go back down again, as he starts to improve again,
yeah, because he got steamed up for, after he's running really good week after week and numbers started really dropping and you're like, it makes it hard to bet. Now he's starting to slip again. And you're hoping that, his downward trend doesn't continue and he jumps back into the form he was in early on in the season.
Indeed. Boji Joe saying Group A, Garcia, Friesen, Mosak, Riggs, all plus 240. Move the line, guys. We are going to move that. That was on my card. So Boji Joe, get out of our dock. I'm taking Lane Riggs in this one. Everybody's equal, which is funny because if you're going to offer a group like this, why make everybody the same? If you don't know what to do with somebody, then pick another person, pick another driver, but whatever. They put a bunch of drivers' names in the hats. They pulled them all out, and this is what they came up with. But I'm going to go ahead and take Lane Riggs because a lot like what I said with Grant Enfinger, Lane Riggs is back, baby. He's got himself a nice, solid finish last week. He finished 3rd at North Wilkesboro. He figured out how to drive that 38 truck. He's ready to go. All right, really, that's not neither here nor there. But here's the thing. The rest of this group, I mean, we already read it off, right? We already talked about Mosak, how we think he's probably going to be, somewhere in the 20 to 25, if that's generous, 25 to 30 possibly. And then if that's the case, then Garcia is going to be behind him somewhere in the 30s as well. Stuart Friesen is the wild card in this. And if you want to take Friesen, I can't hate you too much for it. However, I will caution you that he's not the Stuart Friesen that we're used to seeing. His average finish this year, 17.8. But I understand that Lane Riggs's 21.3 is not better than that. But Stuart Friesen is a veteran driver. He should have a better finishing position. He should have top 10 finishes nearly every single week and not just one top 10 in 10 starts this season versus Lane Riggs whopping 2 top 10 finishes this season, right? Stuart Friesen is frustrated through this season in a total. 18th at Vegas, 22nd at Bristol, 20th Austin, 19th at Martinsville, 25th in Kansas, 13th at Texas. Like, these are not Stuart Friesen's finishes, right? These are other drivers that aren't Stuart, that aren't our favorite Canadian, that actually is from Canada finishes. So in that group, if we're already counting Mosak and Garcia out, I think Lane Riggs, this is going to be another one where you're watching the ticker from 20th down, I think, in my opinion. I don't think, I mean, can Riggs get into the top 15? Yeah. Can he get in the top 10? Yeah. Will he? Maybe not, but I still think he's got the truck to outrun the rest of these guys. Let's just hope that the talent is there on Friday night to where it cashes this group for us.
This shitbox special brought to you by Charmin. Wipe the shit away and bet this group. Yeah, this is you're going to be looking all up and down the board for this. I really don't have. I look so hard at this group because I love.
It's the only group on Caesars right now, so of course you're looking hard at it.
Well, yeah, mostly that also, but again, to the lack of options we have this week. Thanks very much, guys. Man, yeah, like flip a coin and pick one. I like your points on Riggs. I still don't know if I fully trust him, but I don't trust any of these guys. So I'll ride with you on this one, Rob.
I love it. It's who do you not like the least, I suppose, if we're using quadruple negatives in this. So yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to do things a little bit out of order and backwards, Rod, because we're going to have a conversation about this guy tomorrow on the DFS show because you brought him up, and you sort of convinced me to take this bet on him. So as you're listening tomorrow, just that conversation helps me make this bet. I'm going to take Dean Thompson. That's right, I did say Dean Thompson. Top 5 plus 750. Rod, this is another one where you're just betting on the guy's upside. Can you trust Dean Thompson as far as you can throw him? Abso-fucking-lutely not. You cannot trust anything that Dean Thompson does. And why, Rod? Because he's running fast at Darlington. He looks good, and then he wrecks 3/4 of the field and takes out every single person I had in my DFS lineup and all my bets in the process. Then you go to Kansas and he finishes in 8th place. Then you go to Las Vegas and he finishes in 30th place. You are getting one extreme or the other with Dean Thompson. But again, I think I might have even said this in the DFS episode, but you don't want to compare him to Raja Karuth, but it's a lot of the same symptoms of we saw last season a lot of times where he was really fast, looked really good, then he fucks it up and wrecks and doesn't get done. But if he can put it together, Rod, 3rd place at Charlotte last year in this very race for Mr. Dean Thompson, that's the upside he provides you. He's in a fast Tricon truck, and he shows up and he's so fast. Like, so many times I think to myself during a race, I'm like, man, Dean Thompson looks good. And then they go, you come back from commercial, big wreck, Dean Thompson in the number 5, and you're like, well, yeah, that's what it happens so much. So don't be upset when he wrecks and this bet doesn't cash. But the upside is there in an 8th place at Kansas earlier this season, a 3rd place here last year. He's got the ability to get to the end, and if he does, he's in a fast truck. And as long as his talent doesn't run out, he can get you to the end and cash a bet like this. It's only good because it's at plus 750. I wouldn't be betting on Dean Thompson if he was only plus 350 or something like that. It's good because it's a long shot. When he wrecks and finishes 30th, you're going to be like, hey, Dean Thompson showed up being Dean Thompson. So that's how it goes. But the upside part of it, you can cash this at plus 750. So give me some Dean Thompson, plus 750, top 5.
I will save all of my Dean Thompson comments for tomorrow's DFS episode. So listen tomorrow to find out what I have to say about Dean Thompson. But I will say that I agree that he is going to have a fantastic day. So I'm on board with you. I'm on the Dean Thompson train. There's some best mustaches out there. Should have won Darlington, best car. I think we're talking something else on that instant. But here's the thing. I'm going to go back to my winning number bet because, well, partly the books forces, partly because I still love these bets, and mostly because the winning truck number under 15.5 is at plus money. I should just stop there. It's at plus 110 for the winning truck to be under 15.5. Cody, what number truck does Corey Heim drive?
What number
I
does
don't
it go?
care. It's under 15 and a half. I'm telling you right
What
now.
number does? Oh God, it's 11. Jesus, wow, that was a brain fart.
I know. The 11 truck is less than 15 and a half. I mean, if you're going to double up on your Corey Heim love, this is the perfect way to do it because you're still doing it at plus money. You're not having to lay any juice to get another winner. And then just in case something happens, right? Just in case Grant Enfinger decides, I'm going to read off all the trucks under this car number and then, or this number. And then you think to yourself, and I'll help you, how many top 5 trucks we envision from this range of trucks. Brett Moffitt, we called him out as a top 5 already. Nick Sanchez, called him out as a top 5 already. Dean Thompson, called him out as a top 5 already. Grant Enfinger, called him out as a top 3 truck, right? Corey Heim, always a favorite to win. Jake Garcia is going to be a truck driver in this race as well. And then you've got Tanner Gray, who very well could win this race, as we talked about. Is he close to a win? Not closer than his brother, but he's fast, right? So there are at least 5 different trucks in there that we've called out to be a top 5 truck in this race. You're getting all 5 of them at plus 110. I get that you're probably scared by the fact that lying outside of that is the Ty Majeskis of the world, the Ben Rhodeses of the world, the Craftsman.
Did you forget to mention Connor Mosak in that number range there, Rod?
Oh yeah, and Connor Mosak is in there too.
You don't want to leave him out. Jeez.
My bad at all. So yeah, I mean, look, this is definitely something that you want to take a look at as well. Absolutely love me some winning truck number under 11 and a half or 15 and a half rather. So give it all to me.
I like it under 11 and a half too, Rod, because that's Corey Heim's number. So
did you know that? Did you recognize that?
Yeah, well, nice segue into winners, Rod. Corey Heim at plus 250. I mean, at this point, how do you not? He's really fucking good. And Christian Eckes is going to be his biggest threat, obviously. But you just bet Corey Heim at plus 250. Rod, I usually have a big section of winners. I don't this week. It's Corey Heim week. It's Heim time, plus 250. Get invested in it. Insurance play on Ben Rhodes for the points I made earlier. He's a defending race winner, 35-1. It's worth it. But it's Corey Heim time. I'm not going to spend any more time on it because if you've watched the Truck Series for more than 5 seconds, you understand why it's Heim time. And plus 250, yeah, it's a low number, but we talk about this so much. You pick and choose when you take your favorites. It's time to pick and choose the favorite this week. All in on Heim time. Give me Corey Heim to win at plus 250. Ben Rhodes 35-1 as your insurance play.
Yeah, and you had talked about those guys at length. And now here's the thing too. For my what book is the under? So yeah, this is the Caesar Speakeasy. You got to go through that Speakeasy again, yes. Where the same place where you got the numbers for over and under. If you click on the actual race name on your app or on your browser, it'll come up with all of the stuff that's there. Yeah. So
Caesar's again, like worst interface ever, which is crazy because they have the best options usually. But yeah, so now when you go to Caesar's, like if you just open the truck tab, it only shows winners, top 3 and top 5. But if you click on the race name and go into that like other section, they actually do have like top Chevy and they have Chevy, Toyota, or Ford to win, and they've got the numbers. Again, why they fucking hide shit, I don't understand.
Me either. All right. So for my winner, it's the other car that is the fastest car almost week in and week out, and that's or truck rather, and that's Christian Eckes. He is at plus 450 or 400 rather on Superbook to win this race. Look, Christian Eckes, a 4th place finish, a 6th place finish in his last 2 starts on this track. 11th place the time before that. He's already got 2 wins. He has not finished outside of the top 10 but once this season, and that's when he crashed out the brakes went out on him in Atlanta and finished 32nd. Other than that, 6th, 1st, 8th, 1st, 4th, 3rd, 4th, 6th. Like Christian Eckes is going to be there. He's going to be there at the end. He started on the pole last week at North Wilkesboro. Like probably should have won that race, right? 62 laps that he ended up leading in that race as well. It's just a matter of whether or not he can compete with Corey Heim at the end. If he can keep his truck up there around Corey Heim at the end, he's got a good shot at winning this race. So I think you got to go with that and run. Look, I do know that I said something about I put Jeffrey Earnhardt on the cover because I was hoping to maybe get a matchup with Jeffrey Earnhardt or something in there because I wanted to get in on him. But unfortunately, there are no matchups for Jeffrey Earnhardt. He's there because he's racing this race, and I'm never going to be able to put him on the cover again. So if you were here looking for any Jeffrey Earnhardt bets, I'm sorry to disappoint.
If it was the super speedway rod, we'd be in on him. But yeah, I don't know. And yeah, Eckes is plus 150 to Corey Heim, which is really close to just taking out of like principle, because when you have two guys that are the best and one of them's plus 150, one's minus 180, I think that helps make the point of why I'm taking Corey Heim at plus 250 to win this race. But I wouldn't, if you're in on Eckes, I wouldn't mind taking that for sure. So, yeah, that does it, Rod. That's the picks.
That is.
What
So
about yeah? Oh yeah, I guess you'll let you recap first.
well, thank you. Oh my God. I was so scared. Sorry again, no graphic, guys. Just it's been such a busy week. So making the graphic was not necessarily something I was able to do today. However, get out your pen and paper. We will go over the bets for this North Carolina Education Lottery 200. Corey started. Cody, I hate it when you do this to me. Don't ever put Corey Heim in the first box, because then I'm always going to say Corey gave you. Cody gave you Corey Heim as a top 3 truck at plus 125. I said that Connor Mosack, he's got his name back, will finish better than Jake Garcia at minus 110. Cody gave you Nick Sanchez as a top 5 truck at minus 120. I said Grant Enfinger would be a top 3 truck at 7-1. Cody gave you Ben Rhodes at plus 450 as a top 5 truck. I said Brett Moffitt would be a top 5 truck at 2-1. Cody said that Taylor Gray would be a top 3 truck at plus 350. I said that Lane Riggs would win the only group on Caesars at plus 240 to include Garcia, Friesen, and Mosack. Cody gave you Dean Thompson as a top 5 truck at plus 750. I said the winning truck number would come from underneath 19 or 15 and a half. And then Cody gave you Corey Heim at 250, Ben Rhodes at 35-1 as your winners. I said Christian Eckes at plus 400 would win this race. Boji Joe wanted to know who was winning between us and the NASCAR betting preview guys. It's still us, Cody, but we've been losing ground lately.
Yeah, well, I don't even know. I don't know. I just sent Phil, if you're still listening, before you tune out, check your text message, because I don't really see the results from last race. So I'm not sure what happened in North Wilkesboro exactly.
I don't think anybody knows what happened at North Wilkesboro. Somebody used the flashy thingy from Men in Black and erased all of our memories.
And it's completely gone. Why?
Yep. Are you not able to pull up our contest? Can we not make picks today?
Yeah, I see it here. So we scored 351. I wonder. I don't know.
We scored 351?
Yeah. So we had a good day. Let's see if I can see. Okay, here we go.
Rain.
Oh,
Boji Joe says rain.
Oh, yeah. We kicked their ass.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. We kicked their ass big time. 49 points we beat them, Rod.
Woo!
I wonder why. I don't know.
Who was our big scorer that day?
That's a lot of questions.
Oh, okay. I won't ask.
Tyler, well, so Christian Eckes 105 points for us. We had Taylor Gray got 76, Tyler Ankrum 94, and Bailey Curry 56 was solid too. So they had Majeski, so he was less. They did have Lane Riggs, however, which scored more than Taylor Gray, and they had Ankrum, so we washed out there. Connor Jones was their C guy, though. We had Bailey Curry, so big dub for us on taking Connor Jones taking Bailey Curry rather over Tyler, whatever. Jesus.
Well, that was all you, bud. So good job.
Bailey Curry over Connor Jones. That's what I was trying to get out. So, okay, Rod. So we do have. I don't know what the score for the season is, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. We're kicking their ass currently. Make sure you tune into the NASCAR betting preview episode, or NASCAR betting preview show is how you can find their show. They'll probably have their truck episode out tonight, I would imagine, or tomorrow at the latest. So yeah, here we go. Let's make our lineup. All right. We have 8 starts left with Corey Heim and 7 starts left with Christian Eckes. So which one would you like to play this week, Rod?
Let's even it out. Let's put Corey Heim in there. We'll give it. Then we'll be seven starts each.
That was the only answer, and I already put him in before you said that. So, B drivers. All right, we've got some options here. We need 2 of these guys. So you got Brett Holmes, Daniel Dye, Dean Thompson, Enfinger, Lawless Allen, Riggs, Stuart Friesen, both Grays, Timmy Hill, Ty Dillon, Tyler Ankrum. I will say we've only got 4 starts left with Taylor Gray. We've used him a lot.
I wasn't going to suggest him. I was going to say Dean Thompson. That's when we are both high on Dean Thompson, so I feel like that
and we can gamble a little bit, right? Because we've got, in general sense, he's a little risky of a fantasy play, but I think we both kind of like him this week. And if he burns up in flames, well, we've got a lead to protect anyways, so it's fine. And if he goes off, then we're just, we're playing with house money at this point. So I think it's a great move, Rod. Good call by you. Who are we taking for our other shot?
Who are you feeling? I know Enfinger I said is a top 3 truck, but
so we've only got 6 starts left with Enfinger, and I'd rather play him on the short tracks. I feel good about Enfinger at this point on the short tracks. So Tanner Gray actually might not be a bad option here. We still have 8 starts left with him. Ankrum's got 6 starts, but I'd rather wait on Ankrum and see if we can get back to what he was earlier this season.
Absolutely.
I think Tanner Gray is probably the way to go.
Yep, I'm with you on that one.
Okay. So we will do that, and we need a C driver. Got Bailey Curry, Connor Jones, Jack Wood, Raja Caruth. So I think we're probably, really, again, this is such a hard group. I wish they'd balance this out a little more. But I think really it's between Bailey Curry, assuming he's in this race. I haven't really looked, I guess. Bailey Curry's running full-time, right? He's in the 42. I think he's full-time. So I think it's between Curry, Jack Wood, and Raja Caruth. We only have 5 starts left with Raja Caruth, but mile and a half is probably where we want to keep using him. So do we just play Raja Caruth here, or do you want to do Jack Wood?
Well, Curry's in the 41.
That's what I meant to say, for sure. Yeah. I definitely meant 41.
You know what? I don't want to. I don't know why I don't want to pull the trigger on Raja Caruth right now.
I'm fine with that. We're not really on him in betting wise this week. Yeah. I think that's fine. So it's Jack Wood or it's Bailey Curry. Curry did us good last week. Jack Wood's limited, so we only get certain spots to use him.
Let's do Curry again then.
Okay. He worked for us last week. We're going to ride him again this week.
Yep.
Okay. So we've got Corey Heim. It's Heim time. Then Dean Thompson, Tanner Gray, and Bailey Curry. That's our lineup against those guys. Again, this has been a fun contest to go back and forth. And I love their show every week. It's always great. A lot of good information. And then when it gets to the point of, because by the time I listen, we've made our picks, right? I don't listen before we make our picks. And so then it's good to hear them talking about their strategy and, they might play this guy or what they think we're going to be on. So it's a lot of fun to have that little go back and forth with them. So hopefully we can, as Robert says, kick their ass. Hopefully we can keep kicking their ass. Love you, Phil.
There's very few times that I take victory laps, but this is one that I take it because those are 2 smart individuals over there. And anytime anytime I can, listen, Cody can take him to the mat anytime, but if I can help him beating somebody, I'll take it. Cause I am not, what does they say? Forrest Gump says, I am not a smart man. That is me. I am not a smart man, but I definitely love being part of a winning team. So thank you, Cody, for bringing me along on that ride.
You're welcome.
All right. Speaking of ride, let's ride off into the sunset and get ready for the DFS episode tomorrow as we close out the busiest and most exciting week in all of motorsports. Holy cow. Boji Joe says, why no car lifts recently?
Well, there was a car lift on the Indy episode earlier this week, so make sure you go back and listen to the Indy 500. Man, it's all about, you got to have the right numbers in the right places. And I'd love to run a Corey lift or Corey Heim car lift, but his top 3 number's still okay, but outside of that, you're not getting anything good. It's got to be the right numbers on the right guy at the right time. And so it's going to be hit and miss here and there. But on the Indy 500 episode, there was one over on Scott Dixon. So make sure you check that out.
Indeed. All right, then, Cody, as we start to close up shop here, let everyone know where they can find you outside of this world. Thank you, Laura, and thank you, everybody. But let everybody know where they can keep following you.
Yeah, follow me on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. Go back and listen to all the shows this week, Rod. Indy 500, Cup Series, Xfinity, and then DFS will be on tomorrow. Check out the F1 Gambling Podcast. We got the Monaco Grand Prix picks over there. SportsGamblingPodcast.com. 6 racing articles this week, Rod. Indy 500 best bets are out. F1 best bets is out. Cup best bets is out. Cup underdog is out. Trucks and Xfinity underdog will be coming out either this evening or tomorrow morning. Same with underdog for F1 coming out later on this week. So check all that out. Appreciate you guys so much. See you tomorrow for the DFS episode. Best of luck this weekend.
I promise you, your Netflix queue is still going to be there next week. Make sure you go through. This is what you binge. All of these. If you've missed it, binge everything that you've missed before because, yeah, Netflix is not going to lose out on you not watching this weekend. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's Sportsbook Review. Check out my Indy article coming out tomorrow. And then, of course, check out Seth and Elliot tonight or already if you've are listening to this on Friday as they break down Charlotte and the Coke 600 for you as well on the In Between Media channel. So much fun. We'll continue to have it tomorrow. We'll see you then. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.